she still can't even stand.
She's so wobbly.
Sean Whaley is furious.
She's upset. But 100%.
Oh, welcome in. Happy Friday, everyone, to a brand new edition of Axe Kick Picks, episode 169. Today is Friday, March the 21st, 2025. And my bracket is busted. I'm telling you, kid, it's fucking done already. But how you doing? And who you got winning?
I took Auburn.
Wow.
You think about it, they held number one most of the year, and then Florida, took reins of that. But I feel like it'll be right for them to take the number one spot at the end of the tournament. So I put a little sprinkle on them. But yeah, every bracket that I've known is busted. There's probably got to be someone's still going strong.
Are you rooting for Coach Patino? Him and Cal next round.
I called it. Your neighbor. John Calipari, you live next to him.
Good guy.
And I made just a post before the show. This is the last of the Italian basketball coaches we're going to be seeing here. So
we got to support the Italians out there. I think they're getting disrespected too much. The Big East that's why we need Jay Wright back in Villanova. It's the conference of the Italians.
Yeah, let's say look who's the regarded as the greatest women's head basketball coach in college history. Gino Auriemma, another fellow paisano. Yeah. So, brother, on another news, did you catch Callum Walsh, bro? And
put him out.
What do you think about that kid?
I mean, he's a superstar. Dana White loves him, and he just puts every guy out that they put him up against. He needs a real challenge. I think that's the real thing, in my opinion.
He's going to carry TKO boxing, right? That's kind of where they're
100%. He was in their promo. He was in the promo at least 3 or 4 times. I'm like, all right, we get it. And no matter every opportunity Dana White and Turki Al-Sheikh have, they always put him over.
I think WWE even showed him too. He got a little bit of a pop.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that.
No, he's fantastic. He's young. He's a star. People love him. Objectively, he's a good-looking guy. So he's what the kids say. He has aura.
Yeah, there you go. Man, a lot on this stacked weekend. I think Fundora is defending his junior lightweight titles this weekend, but our focus in the boxing world will be elsewhere. Listen to this pack weekend. BKFC Fight Night Philly, Fury FC 103, Cage Warriors 186. I mean, Anthony Pettis FC 16. There's also Lights Out Extreme Fighting 23. That's Sean Merriman's promotion. And shout out to Shamrock FC. You got to respect any organization that's putting on that many events that they've had. They're now at 362.
That's a lot. That's incredible. So shout out them. Doing great things over there. And you're talking about loaded week. We got a loaded show for you guys. We'll recap last week. UFC Vegas 104. Roman Dolidze gets a big win over the Italian Stallion. Our Italians are getting disrespected. I'm telling you. What else? We got UFC London. We are across the pond. A really good matchup between Leon Edwards and Sean Brady. 172 going down early. Set your alarm. Sunday morning, 3 a.m. Joey will break down the card for you. And then we got boxing over in Sydney, Australia. We got our girl, Sky Nicholson. I mean, it's been a hell of a week for her going back and forth. Who's the girl she is fighting? Tiana Brown. Yeah. So they're fighting for the WBC featherweight, and then George Kambosos versus Jake Wiley for the super lightweight.
Shout out to Wiley for stepping up.
Yeah, short notice fight for him. We got some news as well. And then we'll end it. Joey will take it away in Connecticut. 9 p.m. tomorrow night, LFA 204. Another promotion going very strong, 204 shows. But, Joe, let's start last week. Middleweight bout, Roman Dolidze gets the unanimous decision win over Marvin Vettori. Tough one, but I scored. I thought early on, Marvin Vettori had some success, but as the fight went on, it was clear who had the power, and it was Roman Dolidze. He winds up calling out Israel Adesanya and also Robert Whitaker as well. I don't know if you like that, but
good call.
Thoughts on the fight real quick.
Yeah, man. To Marvin Vettori, I said it. I mean, it's got to be proven. His head's made of gabagool, right? Like, this dude is one of the more durable dudes you've ever seen. The amount of punishment that's taken. He keeps fights standing where you get frustrated at Vettori and you want him to maybe incorporate some of the wrestling, some of his strength that he naturally has, but he's, just take it as a, fellow Italian. We're stubborn, we
Oh yeah.
we may not listen to instructions well. I don't think he was responding well to his corner where they
No.
were trying to initiate some of the grabbing, maybe clinching against the cage, but he wanted to keep it standard. He wanted to showcase his grit and, his wherewithal to be able to stand with a guy like Roman Dolidze. Though he had the power advantage, I do think, as I said, leading up to the fight, he would have way better ability to land combinations. For a guy like Marvin Vettori, he's going to be there to get hit. So, yeah, Roman Dolidze pulled away with the striking as it got to the 5th round.
Yeah.
I said this fight would have been more favorable for Vettori if it was a 3-round fight, but as you get tired in the 4th and the 5th and these championship rounds, I think if you can't get the fight to the mat, I think the striking discrepancy shows case itself, and that's what Roman Dolidze did.
Yeah, he moves up 3 spots to number 9, cracks the top 10 in that middleweight division. I know he's calling out Izzy, he's calling out Robert Whitaker. They're good fights, but what do you think about a Jared Cannonier? I think that's a more realistic, in my opinion, fight for him.
I like it. You know what I mean? Jared Cannonier, dude. We say it's like the ageless wonder, right? Yeah. So, it might be a position where he'd have to take that fight. I don't think they fought before, right? They didn't have a scheduled ballot, right? So. No cancellations there. So, I mean, that could make a lot of sense. And it could catapult Dolidze into a top 5 fight after that. So, Jared Cannonier is a great name. I'm glad you mentioned it.
What do you think about Marvin Vettori? Because, he's just on the outside top 10 now. I mean, he looks pretty beat up. And, the bull, Anthony Torres, great analyst in MMA. He's known very widely between me and you. And, one thing that really stuck out, what he said to me, just because you're tough and you take a lot of damage and you don't get knocked out, that's also not a good recipe for later on in your career. And if you're on the tail end of your career, it's not always a good thing that you're tough.
Yeah, what do they say? It's like a backhanded compliment, right? It's
exactly.
Like, yeah, he's gritty, like,
yeah.
Yeah, like he's tough. Sometimes that's the last thing you want to hear in certain aspects. But, going forward for Vettori, he's at number 10. It's a kind of a spot like, not gatekeeper, but like the swinging door, and he's going to have to, get a win under his belt to stay there. But I'm looking at maybe a fight after a fight makes sense. If René de Ridder and Bo Nickel take place, I think maybe a fight for him, the winner of that. Yeah, it's a tough one. Maybe not favorable for Vettori, but it's, at this point, I think we may need to build other stars. And, we're putting one another over. You gotta hold your number 10 ranking and defend your place no matter who is it up against. If it's a rising star from another promotion who's now in the UFC and RDR, or if it's College Gate, royalty in Bo Nickel. So I think that's a fight that could be made next.
You're out here throwing him to the wolves, brother.
Yeah, man. Yeah. He's at number 10, right? And we got a lot to make up for in that middleweight division.
I mean, Brandon Allen coming off a loss, he did call out Marvin Vettori, but didn't they fight in the Vegas hotel?
Yeah, right. You're right. Yeah, it was. There were slots.
Yeah,
they were getting feisty in front of the slots.
In the slot house. What about Paulo Costa? I think that's a guy that's on. He's not on the book so far, but he's also in that kind of. That's also like a backhanded compliment, in my opinion. He's like, oh, he's a gatekeeper, but Paulo Costa is a very good fighter, in my opinion. I think he sells.
Some fighters as well would die to be considered a gatekeeper. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So yeah, that could also happen as well. But like I said, I think what we're seeing is this new era of mixed martial arts come into play, and the UFC is realizing it. They're like, let's get some of the stars, over some old stars, and I think that's where Vettori is at.
I've also come to the realization that these Apex cards, I love them, but man, they are lackluster cards now. I mean,
what can we do? What can we do to get them motivated to hunt the finish? Like the PFL has the point system. I guess bonuses are always up in the air, but yeah, how could we get the Apex to be more? And it's intimate. We like the environment, atmosphere, but to your point, I think you're right on.
I think if you're not a star or you're not exciting or you don't go for the knockout, they're gonna put you in the Apex. I'm sorry to say, but like you're just not gonna. They're not going to put you in front of a crowd. So it's hard to get up for these fights, to your point.
I think it's a risk, and that's why the UFC has it,
Yeah.
They don't, it's all profit for them at the Apex. They own the property, and they're getting all the revenue from the viewership. So I think by putting on, as you said, the fighters that aren't hunting for a finish on a regional card, whether they're in Seattle, they're in London, they're taking a chance and not help making the fans excited, keeping everyone entertained. So yeah, that's what exactly your point is, right? If you're going to be in there not hunting a finish, to the apex you go. And I think that's kind of
Yeah.
rough in there. But it's the
Yeah.
UFC taking a chance. If by you going on one of these big fight nights or pay-per-view
Yeah.
card, you're at a place where they haven't maybe seen a fight in a couple years, and you better perform if you get on that stage.
100%. And if we continue to watch, they're going to continue to put them out there so they don't give a shit. Let's go to the Chief support. Chidi Njokuanu, big knockout. I mean, second round, I did not see that coming. He cashes at a plus 160 underdog. Did you see that power coming from Chidi?
I mean, we've always seen it, right? You know, he's fallen behind on some high level fighters, but you know, the Njokuani brothers, you look at their past, their resume, you know, they show up in big fights. And I think this was a co-main event slot where you don't expect. I think a lot of the eyes were on Dos Santos, Zaleski Dos Santos, the performances he's had in the past. I took him inside the distance because I felt like the grappling would have maybe come into it, but it looked like Chidi was the better grappler in there, the stronger wrestler, and of course those strikes. So yeah, and Chidi Njokuani, he's probably going to get a big fight, maybe not a co-main or a main event next, but yeah, he'll be featured on a main card somewhere, I think, upcoming.
Down goes our boy Kurt Holloway. Alexander Hernandez, unanimous decision. We
The legend killer.
there, legend killer, and you know, some big fights at light heavyweight for Alexander Hernandez coming up in the near future. I think the guy could be a star. He just needs to start putting finishes together.
Or and wins regardless. You know, if he gets another decision win, yeah, the fans may suffer a little bit, but in trajectory of his career, what the UFC wants, yeah, that'd be better off than being inconsistent. But who knows? As you said, he may get a tough fight, a next opponent. Maybe it's another veteran, and he just keeps on this pattern of fighting old guys.
Down go the tough fighters. Cody Gibson gets submitted in the second round by Damon Blackshear. Did not see that one coming. I really thought Cody Gibson was going to be a little more, I want to say,
especially on the
competitive.
feet.
Yeah.
Well, and he came out like a bat out of hell in that first round, and he kind of stunned Blackshear,
but to his detriment.
Yeah, I think that kind of woke him up. I think it woke Damon Blackshear
100%.
up, and then you just saw the level on the mat. Damon Blackshear is actually one of the better grapplers, I think, in that bantamweight division. So look out, anyone who's got to match up with him. You don't want it to hit the mat.
We did back-to-back actually submissions with Brenson Ribeiro as well.
Some of these unexpected dogs like Chidi Njokuani and Brenson Ribeiro. I don't think people are expecting it. If you were to hit on these guys, you'd make some good money.
Our boy Kevin Vallejos. Knockout. I mean, that was so easy. I love him after the fight. He comes out and tweets on the X app, the Everything app. He comes out and says, "Who did I make money for?" I raised my hand. I said, "Thank you, my brother."
Yeah.
I said, the Argentine. He cashes again, and it's either bang or bust for Sung Choi as well.
Yeah.
Did you cash here?
Yes, we cashed Vallejos, right? I've been hearing people pronounce it with the J, but he just seems a star. You know, I did take a chance with him getting the submission, but he likes showcasing his hands, man. He goes out there and he throws leather, and if it connects, I mean, he's going to hurt you bad. So I think, like you said, I think he's in a star in the making. Let's see who they match up with next. The fight with Sting, as you said, it's kind of boom or bust. I do think it was totally favorable for Vallejos in his
100%. Yeah. Shout out Elvis's cousin, Waldo Cortez Acosta. He gets the big win over Ryan Spam. He gets the knockout in the second round, but we do barely cash the over 1.5. I was sweating
on that.
Can you talk about just the downfall spiral of Ryan Spam? Because on some fights it looks like, wow, he could really
comes out like Superman, and other times he comes out like Clark Kent.
But now, I mean, look at Waldo Cortez. He's ranked 11th in that heavyweight division, a Dominican. I love it.
The Dominican nightmare, my boy. I mean, he's seeming to get the grasp of MMA as a whole, and it seems that big boy status, Salsa Boy, has pretty good footwork. He's got power, but he's figuring out the wrestling and the MMA grappling. I think we saw that against Rubeles of Spain, where it was his biggest threat on the feet. He's like, let's turn it around 180 and let's switch this up. And man, a big win on Ryan Spann. You wanted me to kind of go into Ryan Spann. He tried his hand going to heavyweight, and he seemed kind of live in the first round, but it deflated in the second, like complete deflation. And Waldo, he took over in that second round. So, yeah, I think he's a blooming guy. I wouldn't necessarily call him a star just yet, but new blood in the heavyweight division is always good with an aging group. Yeah.
And, I mean, he's cracking the top 10, baby. Watch out. Another 2 wins. This win did get him a new contract in the UFC. So, Dana White, Hunter Campbell, they are rewarding him. He's fixed his wrestling problems, like to your mention, and watch out. He's like 2-3 fights away. We need more and we need newer blood in this heavyweight division because it's kind of gone stale. Shout out Carlos Vera, submission win in the first round. The Ecuadorian, I mean, fantastic submission win.
Dude, plus 600 on the money line. He was probably plus 1,400 to get a submission victory. Man, him compiled with those other big dogs, even the Andre Lima submission to start like earlier in the card. I mean, bro, if you had Carly Judas and Priscilla Cachoeira with knockouts, you would have been swimming in it like Scrooge McDuck.
I mean, lastly, but certainly not least, I have to give out to the American Sam Hughes split decision win. I mean, my girl she is, you want to talk about gritty, and I don't say it in a derogatory way. She is the definition of gritty. Shout out her, man. Force MMA, she gets it. She is a fucking beast. I like Sam Hughes a lot. And she always makes me money.
Yeah, cash you on that. Yeah, I mean, that's a real fighter right there. Doesn't give up. You know, you could look at a record on paper and maybe come to a conclusion on somebody, but that doesn't give you the whole story. Sam Hughes is an absolute dog.
So yeah, overall, pretty lackluster of a card. I mean, those are what you're gonna get at those Apex, but overall, profitable. I go 4-2. Sam Hughes, she cashes at a plus 160, plus 170 underdog. We get there with the over 1.5 with Waldo Cortez Acosta. Our boy Kevin, he gets the job done. Alexander Hernandez gets the win. I took Marvin Vinatieri. I'm biased, Italian, so he has to stick up for that. And then I took a shot on Ryan Spam at a plus 190. I thought he was value. Elvis texted me, said, "Don't you ever bet against my Dominicans." And hey, I'm a man. I'll be a man. When I'm wrong, hand up. I was wrong. So I chuck out on those two. But overall, 4-2. How did you do?
Not bad, and playing it close to the chest has been smart for you, man. I'm still trying to get on track, but you know, my straight picks did a lot better last week. 3-1 my straight picks. My props went 1-3, 500 for the totals. That's been my most profitable so far in 25. Didn't have any leans. I missed on my parlays in 10 seconds left. So an overall of last week, 5-8.
All right, we still gotta turn it around, kid. It's been a tough 2.5, almost 3 months now, kid.
Yeah.
Hey, but the good thing about this, we got what? 9, 10 more months. Yeah, we're good. We're fucking good. All right, kid. Before we get to UFC London, a quick word from our sponsor. We are brought to you each and every episode by Viva Tequila Seltzer, the most refreshing hard seltzer on the market, hands down. It is no wonder why Viva was voted #1 hard seltzer in the world by San Francisco World Spirit Competition. With only 88 calories, 0 carb, 0 sugar, and a light 4.5 ABV. Viva is the perfect drink for your post-game celebration, as it was created with the active lifestyle in mind. There's no wonder why Viva was voted #1 hard seltzer in the world by San Francisco World Spirit Competition. We flavor tequila seltzer because flavor is the spice of life, and we like our drinks with just a kick, just like how we like our lives. Whether it's Huckleberry playing a round of golf with the boys or new flavor jalapeno watching UFC London, it doesn't matter. Our favorites pair perfectly with our Artisanal Blanco tequila for that subtle and refreshing drink. I believe here at Axe Picks and at Viva is to live long, live well, and live it up. Kid, early start time here in London. We got prelims going off at 1 p.m. Main card, perfect 4 p.m. start time on Saturday. And then I'm going to the Devil games at 7 o'clock. So I am locked and loaded. Let's fucking go. I will let you start it off, kid. What is the first fight of the night? I think it is lightweight. We got our boy Guram leading it off, the Georgian. I love it.
Guram Kutateladze, he's a favorite. Yeah, starting up UFC London here in the lightweight division, as you explained, man. Cowie Fernandez, though, is plus 350. Don't have an official play. I'm not touching the first 2 fights. I, wanted to pump the brakes a little bit, maybe just get eased into card, kind of see what's going on. I don't have anything official. I do like the dog, though, man. I think Cowie Fernandez was supposed to fight on a card. I don't know if it was the last one or the one before that, so he got pushed to this one. He's a very exciting fighter, and I think at times Guram has let us down, so yes. The dog could be live there. That's all I could say, but like I said, nothing official.
All right.
And now we go to the bantamweight division. We have your boy, it's Colin Loughnane, right?
I saw him live at AC. Yeah, and the right. Irish, they show up, I'll tell you that.
But even though he's in his neck of the woods, he's a dog, and he's going to be basically the the guy that doesn't have the crowd on his back, right? He's a plus
Yeah.
10 dog. Nathan Fletcher's the guy at home. He's going to have the crowd advantage, right? The home field advantage. So Nathan Fletcher minus 115. Man, Lochnane's tough, but man, with the crowd working against him, as maybe this is a type of fight where if he would want to get into his home crowd, maybe there's some fans there. But like I said, I don't have an official play in this. I actually think I might go towards the favorite Nathan Fletcher in that one. Like I said, no official play from me.
Okay.
But I'm going to get started in this next fight because Mama B's back, baby.
Oh, wow.
Women's strawweight division. Shauna Bannon is minus 160. She's taking out Buja Tomar at plus 150. Women's MMA, I think where we can get, some of the Irish women's MMA on the map. They beat some of the Indian MMA fighters. I think two that kind of struggling to kind of make a name for themselves here. Tomar is a dog. And she's got some good credentials. She's fought and won. She's fought kind of all over the world. But when it comes to fighting higher competition, I think she's folded at times.
Oh.
So, yeah, I think that Shauna Bannon, I think the crowd will be entirely on her side. I think that she needs to kind of right the wrong she had when she was an undefeated prospect coming into her UFC debut. I think she's more comfortable with the lights around her. And I'm gonna hammer her home here. I'm gonna play it safe and get some plus value on the under 2.5 rounds. Like normally you see me go with the women's fights and over and going to decision, but I think she's gonna have a fire under her with the crowd. And like I said, just trying to put her name in the hat of a top 15 ranking. I think she wants to get there. So to do that, she needs a finish. Give me the under 2.5 rounds at plus 410. Great money there if a finish happens either way. But like I said, I'm going to hammer home Mama B inside the distance. She likes a lot of the ground and pound finishes. She doesn't have a submission, but hey, it's never too late for a first. So at plus 750 that she gets it done inside the distance, I'm going to go ahead and take Mama B here in the strawweight fight.
Joe, I will go right into it with my first pick as well. You mentioned some good points. I think the difference here, I think Buja Tomar, she carries much more power and finishing capability in her strikes, while Shannon Ben, fan favorite here on the show, but she has still shedded points and she still holds back in her strikes. She really hasn't shown her karate roots, so give me the Cyclone as a live dog here, plus 150. She has knockout in 6 of her 9 professional fights, while Bannon has never been stopped in a fight. So the TKO, the prop is up to you, but I do like the dog at plus 150. Let's start it, baby.
Yeah, we're against one another, and there's a chance we both hit if she finishes under the 2.5 rounds. That plus 410 is still live, but we're on opposite ends there. So may the best man win, my brother. And now we'll move to a debuting Andre Pulaev, man. The middleweight division here, I guess it's a big pool, man, because at plus 480, it seems Christian Leroy Duncan is going to have the crowd on his side. He's going to have the striking advantage is what we're seeing on paper. Minus 500 favorite CLD is, man. Are you willing to go ahead and put all that money on him, as much chalk he has? I don't necessarily know. I look at Pulaev and I see he's very competent on his feet. He doesn't really get finished. He has ground and pound. I think if you look at CLD's past fights, he does have good takedown defense, but it's just if someone could secure the top position, I don't think he has the best get-ups. Like I said, him using the cage, using underhooks, the best he can. If it's staying upright, I think CLD can deny the takedowns. I'm just seeing kind of a drag-out kind of fight here. I don't think either guy with their stand-up capability is going to be able to just implement their game here. So I think the surprise you have for me is I have a finish in the women's fight before, but I have these two striking expertise going the distance. So fight go the distance is plus 215. That's normally what you get when you get two grapplers. You get stalwart, and then if you get two very competent strikers, you see them being able to ice each one another. So yeah, I think that the judges can see this one. Don't know which way to lean. Dog could be live, but I'm not going to pick a side, and I'm just going to go and take the plus 215 on the fight going to distance.
I'm going to get involved in this one as well. Give me the over 1.5 rounds. I see minus 150. Yeah, I got a minus 147. So
that's good.
I agree with the line movement. I mean, Duncan is a huge favor. While I do think he is the right side, I think he gets the win. That's just too expensive. Maybe another parlay piece, but 1.5 rounds just seems a much more playable pick for me. Duncan, he's gone over 1.5 rounds in 3 of his past 4 fights. And Andre, he's durable, and I think he's going to look to close the distance, grapple, and that's just, like Elvis says, tick, 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 just clocks, just going to keep going. And, I think expect Duncan to, fend off the takedowns early, maybe win the fight by outstriking and outpointing him. But I'm going to take over 1.5 rounds. That's a safer play for me, but I love the plus money the fight to go a distance. I could see it going 3 rounds.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So seeing kind of the same on that one, but I don't know where you're going to think on this one. Even if you have a player now, I'll kind of get your thoughts in this heavyweight matchup. As we were talking about new blood injected into the division, you keep counting out Marcin Tybura, though. He's a dog at plus 110. So I think the experience, I think his size, I think just the all-around game he's got to be live, right? But Mick Parkin, to me, I think in his own backyard at minus 120, I think it's a very fair line to take him on the money line. I think he has a versatile game. I think he could take it to a wrestling route and hit the mat. He got some submissions there. He's got ground and pound. And obviously you've seen what he's able to do on the feet with the knockout power and the pretty much the good speed at the 265-pound guy. He's cutting weight to make 265. So he is big. I like Mick Parkin in this. Give me him on the money line. I think he's a big part of the new era for the heavyweights. I really think that his win here is vital for the health of the division. You have any
Joe?
What you got?
Yeah, Joe. You mentioned my boy Marcin Tybura, the Polish power,
baby.
Right.
Only Polish power in this card.
He opened up as a favorite, local boy Mick Parkin. I love Mick Parkin. I actually really do. I think he's a very good
fighter. Lad. What a lad.
Mensch of a human being. And now the line has flipped. Now Mick Parkin is the favorite. Fine by me because I'm on Marcin Tybura plus 106 here. Mick Parkin, he's been fed the absolute deck of the heavyweight division during his rides, which, Tybura is definitely not a part of. I just think up with this competition, I just think this step up is going to be a little too much for him. I think the wrestling of Marcin Tybura is going to be the factor in this fight. And I'm going to take the plus money here again. I just think, yes, I am a fan, but I don't think even if he winds up losing Mick Parkin in this fight, you can't write him off. He will be back. And we'll talk about that in the main event. Maybe losing a fight is the best thing that could happen to a fighter. But I'm going to go Marcin Tybura here. I mean, I live in a Polish town. How can I go against the brothers? Give me Marcin Tybura plus 106.
Love it, my man. So let's move on to the next fight. And I think this one's flying under the radar a little bit because, I mean, 2 guys that are up-and-comers, but, it's also at 125. It's at the flyweight division. Loner Kavanagh, minus 270. He's technically, fighting in his own backyard, even though he's representing China. I think he's trained out of Great Britain. I think maybe even in England alone. I think that's where his camp may be. So, yeah, he's got ties to the backyard he'll be in UFC London. He's taking on Felipe Dos Santos. Felipe Daytona, dude comes out exactly like that, like a race car. He gave Manel Kape a run for his money in that last-minute replacement, and he could be live at plus 260. And the reason I say it is because I've never hit a Kavanagh fight correctly. Whether I faded him or rode with him on one way or another, I've kind of taken an L there. But, Felipe Dos Santos, I think a lot of people are held their hat on that Manel Kape performance. But look what he did against Andre Lima. It was rather lackluster. He wasn't able to implement his game. And if we're thinking Loner Kavanagh is going to be, a star in the making, I think what we've seen in his undefeated record is that he may have better skills than an Andre Lima. So, man, I'm going to go and take Kavanagh via decision here at minus 110. A little chalky for a guy who's a favorite here and does have finishing capability, but it's more Felipe Dos Santos not having enough to go over the hump, but just having enough to be durable and give Loner Kavanagh some problems. But I think this is Kavanagh's fight to lose. So I'll take him getting to the judges and winning there, whichever way, via decision at minus 110.
No play for me in this one. Should be an interesting fight, though.
I want to hear what you say about this next fight, though, because even if we don't have a play, I think this is a very interesting fight. And I think someone's going to sleep here. That's what I think. Lightweight division, Jai Herbert taking on Chris Padilla. What I'm seeing is it's a pick'em. So like I said, I just see this fight going to sleep. I feel like someone's going to get knocked out here. Chris Padilla goes after it. He's never been finished on his end, right? But Jai Herbert, look what he did. He knocked down Ilya Tapura with one of the nastiest head kicks you've ever seen. And he has the skills to back it. I think he's so educated on the feet. He could give Chris Padilla his first KO loss of the year. But if he's not in his P's and Q's, Chris Padilla has that power. So I like a finish in this one. Under 2.5 rounds at plus 115 is a safer bet than picking the fight to end via KO TKO at plus 175. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, I don't have a pay, but my worry is when we get similar styles or similar game plans from two fighters, two strikers, we kind of see it going to decision. That is my worry with taking someone getting knocked out, because I could see it. Both of them have extreme power, but Padilla never been knocked out. But Jai Herbert is actually a beast in there. So it's actually moved. Jai Herbert is the favorite, minus 120. You could get even money at Chris Padilla, which I would agree with the line movement. I do think he is a tad better with the experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And the level of competition he's faced. So let's see here. Have we made it to the main card yet, or am I at the main event of the prelims?
No, that was the main event of the prelims. Nathaniel Wood is now the first fight on the main card.
Shout out for Jai Herbert, getting that main event prelim card. I think they showcase his skills there. And
I think more people will see it on ESPN.
That's right. Yeah, it's free. I mean, in a sense, the whole main card is going to be free too. But, a lot of people are going to be waking up and be ready to see some fights, come tomorrow. So, yeah, let's start it up in the main card. Featherweight division here, Nathaniel Wood, as you said, he's a dog here at plus 130, taking on Morgan Sherry at minus 130. You look at the losses, Morgan, the last Pirate has gotten, I think controversial, right? I think we argued that he beat Chep Mariscal.
Definitely beat him.
Yeah,
Definitely.
look what the kind of a rip and tear Chep Mariscal has gone on since then. So you see the level recently, and you look at some of the fighters he's fought, Saladin Parnasse. I mean, he's fought some high level dudes. So Nathaniel Wood, I think they're down. The only thing I could, kind of be critical of is the finishing capability. I think he goes to decision far too much to my liking. But Nathan Wood is no longer a prospect, as his nickname would indicate. I think he's a guy that you have to beat to make a name for yourself. So a lot of Morgan Sherry's plate here. I'm going to definitely officially lean with him. But my safe bet is a chalky one, and it's for the fight to go to the decision. I don't know which way to officially lean, even though I am leaning with the Frenchman away from home. Daniel Wood's going to have the crowd in his back. Minus 220 for over 2.5 rounds. Maybe it's a parlay piece. Maybe it's just a safe bet. If you want to get a win, maybe that's just a good, you just got to see one go through the net, like that dude who bet for Alabama State and only won like $100. So 300,000 to win $100. That's his type of bet. You want to see one go through the net. I think very calculated, a very close fight, and very competitive here. That's why I don't think either guy is going to be able to get a finish. I just see the judges being involved in this one. So
Morgan Sherry, is that how you pronounce it?
Man, I've been trying to figure it out. I can't even find pronunciations on it.
All right, well, I'll just call him Morgan. You can't come down on a side. I will. And this is my pick for fight of the night. I think there's going to be a barn burner. I think Morgan is a star in this featherweight division. Technically it is an L on his record, but he definitely beat Chep Mariscal in a wild fight, I think. He bounced back nice, beautiful K over Gabriel Miranda last September. He's going to have the speed, the size advantage in this fight, which, I think is going to come into play if Wood attempts to try to make this into a wrestling fight, which I don't know if it's going to be the best strategy. As long as Morgan could keep this fight standing, I think he runs away with this fight. This might be my favorite play. It's going to be a competitive fight. Nathaniel Wood is a good fighter, but I just think Morgan is a star in this featherweight division. I'm going to take him on the money line minus 140.
I like it, dude. Yeah, you're leaving the option for him to get a finish in there. If Wood won't want to push the pace, maybe Morgan will and try to hunt for that finish. So playing it on the money line is very smart, man. Brother is a sharp. Let's go on to the next fight here. In the lightweight division, I'm seeing Jordan Vucinic minus 375. He's taking on Chris Duncan at plus 360. Every time you see Chris Duncan get here, he's normally got he's a crowd favorite, but, he's fighting an Englishman, in this spot. So I don't know. I do feel like the Scots are going to come out and force, and they're going to support their man here. And I do feel like he's got a lot of English fans out there. So I don't think Chris Duncan, even though he talked about us saying that, he's going to be in hostile territory, so to speak, I don't necessarily think that. I think that he's going to have some crowd, and that may rub Vucinic the wrong way. I don't like Vucinic as a favorite in this spot at all. I really don't. Minus 375 for a guy who's unproven in the UFC. Chris Duncan has fought some tough competition, and yeah, he's fallen short, getting submitted, getting the submission right back. We've seen that a lot in 2025. A lot of these fighters, they get done a certain way, as Marshawn Lynch has liked to say, you're going to get got, right? So it's just about you giving it back. And I feel like it's Chris Duncan's time to give it back here. He's plus 360. You can play it safe and take him on the money line, but I'm going all out with Chris Duncan here. He's been talking about it, and I want him to live up to his word. So I'm going to support you here, Chris Duncan. Get that knockout. I'm going to go Chris Duncan via KO TKO at plus 800. Let's see if he can get it done and make us some good money. Do you have any picks there? Any thoughts on the matter?
Yeah, no. Thoughts. Why is Chris Duncan and Chris Leroy Duncan always on the same card? That is my thoughts. And the kid Jordan, does he leave any room for non-tattoos? I mean, the guy is, you want to talk about tatted?
Inked up.
Oh my God. But I agree. I mean, minus 350 I'm seeing at some books. That is mispriced.
I believe it should be a lot closer. And disrespect to Chris Duncan, he should not be taking it lightly. That's why I want him going there head hunting.
Yeah. I don't have a next play for the next fight with Meatball Molly. I don't have a play.
I find this interesting to see the tickets that I've seen out there. A lot of people are looking at Molly McCann via submission. I do not see how you got, I guess from the Kimura she got the last time out, but that's not her game, man. Like, it's a far fetch for her to go ahead and do that. And you see what her biggest disadvantage is when the fight hits the mat and she's the one in submission positions, where Alexis Dayanara has over 7-8 submission victories and never been submitted herself. I think even though she's fighting in enemy territory has been a common theme for this episode, Alexis Dayanara is the right side. I think the books see it. She's minus 185 against a plus 180 Meatball. I think the way to victory is the submission. So as much I was hunting with Chris Duncan for the knockout, I'm going to hunt Dayanara, get that chalky minus 185 up to plus 440 with the submission victory here. I'm fading everyone's ticket that I've seen out on social media.
I love it.
And now let's go to, as you said, the featured bout, man. Haven't seen this man in quite a while, and we've seen maybe too much of the other guy. Welterweight division, Kevin Holland, man, staying active. Plus 110 dog here in this spot, which I do think surprising based off the activity. But Gunnar Nelson coming back up minus 110 is because we all love Gunny Nelson. He has the capability of doing it all. He has great submissions. He never stopped competing, grappling, jiu-jitsu tournaments, and no-gi tournaments. I mean, he's been there and he's done that. Kevin Holland does have a black belt, and so that may ice each other out. Gunnar Nelson is more creative on the feet. I just hope the age and the way being away from the game hasn't really made him too rusty. But as Dominic Cruz says, there is no rust. There is no such thing as rust. So maybe that's true here for Gunnar Nelson. I like him. I don't think at this point in time we can look at Kevin Holland and back him. I think he's let us down far too many times to put a bet in for him, and that's more of what it is than being fearful of the rust that Gunnar Nelson may have. So I'm going to take Gunny here. Straight up on the money line. Like I said, he has very many ways to get the job done. It could easily go to the judges, so I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. I guess you're always fearful of Kevin Holland just sparking a dude, but I'm going to take the more paths of victory with Gunnar Nelson and his return.
Yeah, Iceland's own. I mean, he's had a hell of a career, Gunnar Nelson, odd career, popping in every couple years and then disappearing again back home to Iceland. I mean, it's probably the life for him, but I feel like normally that would be a concern in picking a fighter to win. However, Nelson's, I think he's given a layup here in Kevin Holland. Holland can't grapple, and once he's taken down, he doesn't work. In my opinion, he doesn't work too hard to get himself back up. Plus, I think Gunnar Nelson can crack as well. He has a unique karate style on his feet. If you want to stand and bang, I think Gunnar Nelson could stand and bang as well. So I agree here. What could go wrong? Minus 115. I'm going to take Gunnar Nelson here.
First time.
Yeah, I think he deserves to be the favorite as well.
Yeah, I've never seen a Gunnar Nelson pick for you, my man, because we've never seen them together. Yeah. And we're on the same side for his return fight. I'm a Gunny Nelson fan. I remember him training with, Conor McGregor back in the day, and he picked up some of the style from that, as you were saying, with the karate background and all. So, and his jiu-jitsu is sublime. So I love this return fight for him. Kevin Holland, unfortunately, is not trustworthy at the moment.
What do you really think for Kevin Holland? Do you think he's just there for the money? Because he's clearly not there to win a championship.
Man, I don't know. I think we had in the past when we first were introduced to him some title aspirations. I think he himself said it, but then like he came out and
Yeah.
contradicted that motive as saying that, yeah, he was just, here to be a fan favorite and make money and be a prize fighter. And I guess it puts in question what the motives are for us as fans looking in. But I mean, what we could easily see is him lose and then easily get a fight in 2 to 3 months and be back on it, and
He's
it'd be a
averaging
clean
a
slate.
fight
So
every 94 days.
yeah, 3 months exactly.
So all right, we might see him in June here. And
Yeah, we'll see him in Jersey.
Yeah.
This time we won't be able to dap him up though because he'll be in the cage.
Yes, true.
So let's make it to the co-main event here at UFC London, bro. I think this fight kind of went under the radar, right? Co-main event slot,
Absolutely.
title implications, so to speak, right? Super Riser and Carlos Ulberg, hide your wives, Jan Blachowicz, the Polish Power, bro's a title holder, former champion, and they're counting him out, plus 255. It's kind of crazy for 205 weight class where this dude look what he did to Magomed Ankalaev, took him to decision and almost
The champ.
Almost took the dude's legs off with the leg kicks and check-in. And I think that could be a factor here. Carlos Ulberg, minus 250. He's an absolute striker. We were surprised with the rear naked that he gave us last time with the submission. So he shows that these guys in the mixed martial arts world, their game is well-rounded. But I don't see that in his future. I think, if anything, he's going to want to avoid grappling with Jan Blachowicz, where his takedowns, look what he did with Israel Adesanya. He did it at will. He was able to take him down whenever he wanted. So I fear for something like that. New Zealand, Australian ex-fighter, maybe not fighting at City Kickboxing, Carlos Ulberg, right? No,
he is.
But,
he is at City
yeah. So
Kickboxing.
same camp. Jan Blachowicz has been in a situation before. Like I said, at will was able to take down Israel Adesanya. Similar styles. Carlos Ulberg may have a power slight advantage, but I think it's going to be a similar situation. Though I do like Carlos Ulberg. The only thing I could fear about picking Jan Blachowicz in the spot is the age. Did he get over that hump, right? Did Father Time finally defeat the Polish Power? And I'm not going to believe that just yet. I see the way he's trained, and being away from the game a little bit may have made him completely healthy, away from injuries. And, speaking about Gunnar Nelson, not getting cracked, not sparring, not getting hit, I think that could be a benefit from staying away for a little bit. So my pick is on the dog, Jan Blachowicz, the Polish Power, at 255. I think his X factor is wrestling. If he wants to take down Carlos Ulberg, he'll null and void the powers of the Black Jag.
Yeah, I'm shocked to see Jan Blachowicz as an underdog, this big of an underdog to Ulberg. I understand Ulberg, he's fun to watch, good-looking guy, but, riding a 7-fight win streak here, but none of those wins really came against a top fighter in the division. No disrespect, that win against Volkan Ozdemir didn't leave me thinking he was ready for this huge next step up. So unless he knocks out Blachowicz here in round 1, which I don't see how else he wins this fight. Maybe, I don't know, I'm not an odds maker, but maybe the odds maker are considering the fact that, we haven't really seen Jan Blachowicz. He had surgery. We haven't seen him since July of 2023, where lost a split decision to Alex Pereira, which, hand up, I thought he won the fight as well. So lucky for us, I think Jan is the better fighter no matter where this fight goes. Underrated, wrestling, great grappling skills, and I think he could use it when necessary. As long as he could survive the early power in round 1 of Ulberg, I disagree. I'm going to take Jan Blachowicz here at plus 255. Another dog for me.
Hey, man, same side there. Not too often. I think we're only twice. The last 2 fights, we were against each other every single fight. But what happened? We turned a corner here. We're seeing eye to eye. Come on.
I mean, that's not good for my money.
Not good for my pockets, no. But let's talk about the main event, right? This welterweight 170-pound matchup between Leon Rocky Edwards and Sean Brady. Are we going to give Sean Brady a nickname? But he's favored here, away from home, minus 145. Taking on Leon Edwards, plus 140. You know what, D-Rock, I'm gonna hear from your thoughts first. Take it away for our main event of UFC London. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm glad they kept Leon Edwards here on the card. Glad they didn't give him an immediate rematch. And let's not forget, he made, not to make this about the champ, remember the name, Belal Muhammad, but let's not forget, he didn't give Belal, he made him wait for a rematch. So, yeah, a little petty, but I think Bilal deserves to make him wait and wait, just like how he was made, had to wait. So I like this. And if I'm Leon Edwards, I'm like, fuck, bro, I got to take on Sean Brady. This is an awful stylistic matchup for him, in my opinion. He lost the title to Muhammad. And, I think Edwards, he needs to get past this style of opponent in Brady if he plans to earn another shot at Bully B. And, he has a chance here on Saturday to right these wrongs. And, I think in order for Leon Edwards to win this fight, he needs to keep the fight on the feet if he wants to get a win. He cannot start slowly again, which, kind of allow Brady to dictate the pace of this fight. I think Leon Edwards' style is not the one that gets better as the fight goes on. Besides the headshot bang with Kamaru Usman, let's not forget he was losing 90% of that fight. He's an aggressive striker. He is dangerous. I agree with that. Unfortunately, we rarely see that version from him. So I'm going to take Sean Brady here, minus 147. I see minus 150s out there. I just on the feet, I think Edwards does have the advantage, but he will likely be concerned about those takedowns. And let's not kid ourselves. Sean Brady will get a couple takedowns here. His hands are slow. I don't think his sprawling is good. He's hesitant to strike. And Brady is a monster in the grappling department. And once he takes Leon Edwards down, his physical strength will allow him to bully, no pun intended, Edwards into any way he wants. And shout out Sean Brady. He just had a kid a few weeks or a month ago. And Joe, there's a new inspiration. You're not just fighting for yourself. You have a family. You have a son now. So I think all that is going to dictate how he's going to fight. And Leon Edwards this whole week is talking about Bully B. But bro, you got passed on. No one's that fight wasn't competitive. That is why you didn't get a rematch. Yeah. Let's not kid ourselves. And Sean Brady's just focused on the fight. He's focused on and let's not forget, even if Leon Edwards wins this fight, they are not passing Shavkat. He is next. I don't care if he goes out there and starts to Sean Brady in the first round. You are not next, buddy. I'm sorry. You're just not. They're not going to pass Shavkat. And, I talk about maybe losing was the best thing for him. I think losing to Bully B for Sean Brady, I think that was the best thing for him. He was carrying all that weight, undefeated fighter, and now he doesn't carry that weight. He could just be his true self, and that is dangerous for anyone in this division. And I think I think he still will need one more after a win against Leon, but this is going to be his biggest fight of his career, and I think he's going to win. So yeah, give me Sean Brady, and I think he could submit him too. Yeah,
man, there's so many ways you can go about this fight, and the paradox that is Leon Edwards, and like you said, Sean Brady lost to Bilal. It could have evolved him into a new fighter, a new
100%.
kind of man, and Leon is still holding on to the headshot dead thing. So it seems that he's not evolved kind of past that, right? And the paradox I was speaking to is, to your point, him kind of fading into the later rounds. A paradox that consists is because you look what what happened to the Bilal fight. I'm pretty sure he turned it on in the 5th round. Didn't Leon do that? He started turning it on in the 5th round. And then, the same thing with the Kamaru Usman, getting dominated for 4 rounds, and he gets a knockout in the 5th. But then look at the fights he's dominated. I'm pretty sure, what was it? It was the one Nate Diaz fight, right? Where he dominated 4 rounds and he gets rocked in the 5th, right? So that, to your point, I think is valid. It's just which end of the spectrum are we getting, right? Fighting in his own backyard. He's going to have the length. I think the advantage also talking about is in the clinch. I think Leon Edwards is more educated with clinch fighting than Sean Brady. Also, the reach, I think, will play a factor there. But like you said, the reach wouldn't matter if it hits the mat. I think Sean Brady's end goal objective, get this fight to the mat and hunt that submission. I think you're right. I think submission's on the table for Sean Brady, but it's just the ability to close the distance. You got to worry about the knees. It's just Leon Edwards. He scares you, right? If he's going to be like lackluster, he's going to be kind of boring. Maybe he does pull ahead in the fight and he just cruises to a very lackluster decision, which we don't want to see. And that's not going to do him any favors in getting that title fight. But Sean Brady, even if he wins on decision against Leon Edwards, it seems to be on his way to that title fight, right? Like you said, maybe not skipping Shavkat, but he gets past that. Gets past that double loss, and he beats who was the former champion. So he's got a champion win over his resume. Man, as much as I do like Sean Brady, and I'm biased towards my grapplers, I feel like he may have some difficulty closing the distance. I think he has a lot of weapons to get through Leon Edwards. I think he's going to want to try to get that fight back as well. And I know he seems to not have evolved with the old cliche celebrations and taunts and this and that and the lackluster performances and stuff like that. But I think he wants to prove all of us wrong. And at a dog price, man, at plus 140, I get attracted by that. He's at home. You got to think of the time that they're fighting at as well. He's fighting his normal time globally, as Sean Brady's going to have to adjust his entire sleeping schedule just to accommodate for the England time zone. So I think that's a low-key factor we don't speak of. Like I said, the crowd, the length, the skill on the feet as compared to just getting on the ground, right? So he can win via KO TKO or he can win decision. That's two ways to win over Sean Brady with all the other factors included. I'm on the other side. I think you could already tell where I was going. I'm taking Rocky at the dog price at plus 140. So that'll do it for UFC London, and that's my pick.
Oh, I'm so glad you're on the other side. That makes good for my pockets, Joe. Thank you so much. Like I said, early start time, 1 p.m. on the prelims, 4 p.m. here on the East Coast.
Yo, I built a parlay.
Oh, all right. What do you got?
Live right here on the show. I was like, you know what? Take after Matty Betts, and a shout out, but dude's hitting a cycle parlay. I'm going to go for it. You got Kavanaugh via decision, as I put as a prop pick. Duncan via KO, the prop pick, and then the Dayanara via submission. Long shots in two of them, and no guarantee with the chalk, but plus 9,000, I think it's worth a sprinkle.
All right, love it. Little live parlay action for Joe. Joe, good luck. Let's get back on the horse. Let's get into that 500.
I would love
record.
to go undefeated.
Oh, that's a better.
That might be a for your pockets, but
yeah. All right, kid. Before we get to the big boxing fight in Australia, 172. It's a huge fight going down in the Saratama Super Arena to Sunday morning, 3 a.m. start. Make sure you set your alarms. For a lot of strikers here in Japan, they're ready to make a statement, kid. What do you got? Break down the card for us.
You could watch the London fights and then go take a quick nap and wake up just in time for the 3 a.m. card over there for one. So, I mean, there's a loaded card here. I had to talk about it because you got the likes of John Lineker, Shinya Aoki fighting Folayang for the fourth time. There's a kickboxing match between Kaito Ono and Murad Grigorian. So those are some of the fights that I needed to mention but won't be touching. So I'm going to get involved in the title fights. You have the one women's kickboxing strawweight championship at Jija. The queen is a minus 650 favorite against Kanya Morimoto at plus 575. I think Pajija's going to probably knock her out. If you don't know about her, watch that fight. She's one of the few female fighters that has knockout power anywhere the fight goes. Knees, elbows, hands. I mean, you name it. She's the queen for a reason, and I think it'd be foolish not to take her. So give me Pajija there. The kickboxing interim flyweight championships on the line. Jonathan DeBella, New York's own, was minus 270 on, taking on Muay Thai legend Sam Ah at plus 240. I think the age discrepancy is a big factor here. Jonathan DeBella is very young in his career, and he's proven a lot, and I think he's capable of competing with a legend in Sam Ah. So going to take the chalk, going to take John DeBella here at minus 275. You got the vacated bantamweight championship now with Demetrius Johnson stepping away from the sport. So his old rival, Adriano Moraes, is going to be competing for it against Yuya Wakamatsu. Obviously, Moraes is a favorite at minus 220, and I do think he's the right side. Even though the little Piranha is feisty and he does have knockout capability, I think you got to think the grappling, the jiu-jitsu factor, the flying knees, and, in one, the rule set's a little different, so you can get hit in more vulnerable positions where Adriano Moraes is familiar with. So not going to take the dog at plus 225. Going to take the favorite. Laying chalk so far in this one card, but maybe we can, incorporate some dogs in this next one. We got this one kickboxing featherweight championship on the line between Super Lek and Nabil Anand. They fought before, but Anil Anand was only like 16, 17 when they first fought. This dude is only 18, 19 years old currently. Super Lek also is coming with a camp. He was originally supposed to fight Nico Carrillo, but Carrillo stepped out. So here comes, super tall for the division, Nabil Anand, who's a dog at plus 205. He's been in there before. Super Lek is on an absolute tear. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm probably stupid for fading him, but I'm going dog hunting. I'm going to Nabil Anand, a 19-year-old. We've seen one showcase plenty of young talent, and I think he's one of them. I think the length is just something you've never seen before in that weight class. So keep an eye out for this. If you guys are going to have nothing to do 3 a.m., watch these fights because I'm sure they're going to be entertaining. So, yeah, dog here and a new one kickboxing featherweight champion, Nabil Anand. Now I have the last two fights. Co-main event. I got to put Tawan Chai here at the co-main event because he's defending his, lightweight championship against Nori. I don't think fading Taiwan Chai is a smart spot here. He's going to utilize that left leg as a weapon and just land it, whether it's to the leg, to the body, or to the head. And I'm pretty sure Taiwan Chai is going to find a finish. So going to pick him there. It's all chalk besides the Bill Anand here for 172. But we all lead up to the main event. And it's been, on our minds for months. Once that fight was announced between Takeru Sagawa and Rodtang, we were all ready for it, and it got pushed back, but we finally have made it here. So, Sagawa, Takeru, he's plus 175. Rodtang, he's minus 175. He's basically defending his own territory, his own company, so to speak. One and Rodtang kind of go hand in hand. He's just a freak, bro. For all the fights that he's had, he's almost at 400 now in his young career. And that's what you get with a lot of these Muay Thai guys. He's been there, done that. And I think he's taken the most from anybody who's ever thrown at him. And Takeru is super talented and technical of a striker. But I think the one thing with some of the Japanese fighters we fear is the ability to get knocked out. I don't think the chins there are as strong as Rodtang, who literally will stand in front of you and say, throw your best punch at me. I'm not going away. So, yeah. Rodtang, Jitmaragnon, minus 175. I think the Ironman is the right side, and he's an absolute legend. So that's my breakdown of 172. I think the promotion's hot. They got to keep putting on these great events so that they can compete with the likes of the UFC.
By the way, Joe, I don't know if you heard this. Maybe this is a little for the news segment, but Glory Kickboxing got to deal with the zone. I think that's very big for them, especially for people like us here in the States to see more eyes. We know how big it is over in Asia and in Europe, but us here for the States, I think that's very big for them.
Absolutely. Yeah, good deal with them. You're seeing all these, programs signing up deals so they could showcase their fights. And I think that's just smart. And if it's more free, you're going to have more eyes on it, and that's just going to grow it as a whole. And I think what also we don't take into consideration, what we forget is the youth, right? The young people that see this maybe for the first time, and inspires them to, go for it and try to become a champion in whatever regard they want. So I think the inspiration factor is big in getting these deals done.
I mean, isn't their champ, the heavyweight champion, Rico?
Well, yeah, it's Verhoeven. Yeah, he's been. I told you, he's
4-10.
Yeah, he hasn't lost in the past 10, 15 years. And if you look at the dude, he's like a Greek god. So I mean, he's
going to be acting, and they said he's going to get. I think it's Glory 100 next month. 99 is this month. Watch out for a potential super fight with Francis Ngannou.
Ooh, that's a wild card.
No, I mean, they've been talking about it. He was on the Ariel Helwani show this weekend, and he said they're actually talking. We don't, because
would they do just a boxing match, or would it be
it would be in the PFL. And Glory said, we are not going to hold Rico to anything. If he wants to go, it'd be great for Glory and it'd be great for PFL. I mean, how does Francis Ngannou not have a fight right now?
Yeah,
you have to stay active.
Yeah, there you go. That could be good for both promotions, as we've seen Rizin trying to sign with the UFC, right? Trying to make some stuff happen. Them getting involved in the boxing world. Yeah, I think more cooperation, more conglomerate. Respect my conglomerate, I think is good for the fighting world as a whole. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's get to this boxing card. You can find it Saturday, March 22nd, early start time. It is in Sydney, Australia. Obviously headlined by George Kambosos and Jake Wally, the super lightweight fight. Sky Nicholson versus Tiara Brown, featherweight for Sky's WBC featherweight title. We have a rematch with Shakira Johnson and Nina Hughes for the bantamweight, for Hughes's bantamweight title. We got a rematch. I know they were talking shit for a while as well, but got a good card here, kid. What do you like?
Yeah, they could settle the beef in that featured bout. The WBA World Female Bantamweight title. Jernica Johnson is a little favorite. I'm seeing more money coming on her as well, but I got it at minus 145, and that's what I'm going to play against Nina Hughes at plus 135 as a dog. I just, I think she's going to just continue on the pace. She defended it the first time, and Nina Hughes has fought her way back to get to this. I just think Jernica Johnson is just a little bit ahead in this weight class, and that she's a bigger girl too.
Yeah.
So I think it's harder to kind of put her down. Get a knockdown that could win you the fight. And a lot of women's fights don't end with knockouts. I think the knockdowns, to my point, matter a lot. So without that being a factor for Nina Hughes, I don't see her winning on the judges' scorecard. So you may
Yeah.
want to, play it via decision, but I'll just take the Trinica Johnson straight up on the money line because at minus 145, it's still playable.
You got a good number because I'm seeing at some books, money has come in on Trinica
Exactly.
Johnson, minus 163. I see minus 200, 2-1 favorite. I agree with the line movement. Like you said, she's going to be the bigger fighter. I just think the power is going to carry over as well. So, yeah, I like Nina Hughes. I think she's a good fighter, but see ya.
And I mean, this one might be the people's main event in a sense, and I think Tiara Brands has done a good job in getting in Sky Nicholson's face and talking the shit that she was, because I think it put more hype towards the fight. I think you go into it, you see Sky Nicholson on the docket, and you're like, oh, another win for Sky Nicholson via decision, right? Like, and that's unplayable. Right now, she's minus 800 for actually. That's when I saw it. Right now, it's swelling to over minus 1,000, right, for Sky Nicholson, as it usually is. So she's a massive favorite. The Olympian-style boxer, the footwork that she possesses. The only thing we can always criticize is the knockout power, but you don't see that in the women, so that doesn't need to be a part of her game, right? Sky Nicholson is just super talented. But as much as I'll be rooting for her, and I do think she's one of the better fighters in the world, there's just no playable option for me here. I can't play minus 800 and make money. I can't play via decision minus 500 and make any money. It's just not possible. So though I do think, and I'll be rooting for her, that Sky Nicholson will win and defend her WBC World Female Featherweight title, my bet is with Tiara Brown at plus 550. Yeah, I got to take the dog because she does have some knockout capability. She did seem a little bit bigger. She's not backing down from the spot, stepping in her face and talking all that she has. So yeah, at that big of a dog price, it's worth the sprinkle, but the likelihood is slim to none.
Yeah, I mean, death, taxes, and Sky Nicholson via unanimous decision. You're right, minus 549 for decision. If you could get via unanimous decision, maybe that would be a better price. I know some books offer it, some don't, so shop around. But, you mentioned knockout. Yeah, she's 18-0, Tiara Brown, and I love what she's doing, hyping the fight up, getting in her face. I think that's what you got to do, but it doesn't seem to be rattling Sky, and I think she's playing a part. She's playing her part well, but she has no consistency, no knockout victories. You talk about knockout power. She has no knockout victories, so I don't see that. I just don't see it. I don't think she's faster. She might have more power than Sky, but she's not going to be able to touch Sky. And, yeah, she says she only throws 5 punches. That might be the case, but she's going to hit her. And
she's excellent at them.
Yeah, so I just don't see her doing it. One of the quotes.
I got here's the one thing I got to just interrupt you. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different knockouts from Tiara Brown.
Really? I saw none, but it's all
That's
good.
The only reason why I put a little. I was like, hey, there's a little something here. If I didn't see that, if all I saw was what you saw, just decisions, there's no way in hell I would have put any money on her. But
she's not winning. Sky, I would say Sky via decision, but if you want to get
look at the aura as you spoke about, aura, she was just like, I'm not phased.
I try to see. I'm trying to look, but the book that I have right now, even an offshore book that I usually bet on, I'm trying to see if they have unanimous decision, but they don't. So shop around. Yeah. That's the way I would play it, though.
Few in between do have that specific victory. So yeah, it's hard to find, but if you can, yeah, definitely hit that because you're not going to get as better chalk than that. I mean, it's always tough, and that's why I did what I did, even though I might regret it later. So I mean, yeah, that main event you mentioned, George Kambosos, putting everything on the line for him to fight Dawood Yordan, and then he just steps out. So it's funny they gave Dawood Yordan with the camp less of a chance to win than they're giving Jake Wiley, who's stepping on short notice. So maybe a credit to the Australian boxer Jake Wiley. Man, it just seems that George Kambosos is going to win this, right? I just looked at Dawood Yordan's, capability, and I saw Kambosos going in there and trying to get back on track and going for a knockout. But now with Jake Wiley being considered a more of a likelihood to actually compete with George Kambosos Jr., I'll be surprised if Jake Wiley goes out in this one. Maybe a knockdown could occur, maybe 2, but I just don't see that he's going to get completely knocked out or TKO'd. So my bet is for George Kambosos Jr. to win via decision at plus 230. I think it goes all 12.
Yeah, no play here, but yeah, George Kambosos should win. He is the big favorite, and for a good reason here. So yeah, I'm surprised that it was this big of a favorite. I mean, you talk about Sky Nicholson being a big favorite. Almost, he's minus 1,400.
He's double that.
Yeah, it's insane. So, yeah, no play here. But kid, anything else before we get to some news here?
No,
No?
we talked a lot. We
Yeah.
got a lot of plays out for this weekend. I'm just hoping to be profitable and make you guys some money.
Yes, sir. Let's do it. You were right. Credit to you. With the whole Jeremy Stevens thing, he did come on the Hawani show this week, and he said it is just a one-fight deal that will end after UFC Des Moines after his fight with Mason Jones on May 3rd. They're gonna talk obviously after the fight. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, you were right. Wanted to give you your tap to that, and I actually was surprised that he is just getting the one-fight deal.
Once I heard that too, when he confirmed, I was surprised as well. I didn't realize I was going to be like kind of having the finger on the pulse with that situation. But yeah, I just think that Jeremy Stevens is the part of his career where he wants his options open. I mean, hell, if they want to sign him a good contract to go fight in Karate Combat, I'm sure he'll go and do that. So yeah, give Jeremy Stevens the freedom to do what he wants, and I'm sure he'll be happier and you'll get better performances out of the man.
He did go out. He went on to say, he is scheduled and wanting to fight. He is still talking to Dave Feldman. Potential super fight with Mike Perry. That would be a barn.
To your point, you made that point. I like that fight.
Also, UFC Des Moines. This turning out to be a great card. We got maybe make a trip to the old corn state. Dontel May is gonna take on Thomas Peterson. Dontel May is looking to bounce
Thomas
back.
Jefferson, if you know, you know.
Yeah, exactly. You like this fight or no?
Yeah, it's a little rough, I think Thomas Peterson has let us down, especially in the last fight. Dontel May certainly let you down in his past couple fights.
I'm done.
Yeah, it's a kind of who you're fading in that one, unfortunately.
Back at the Apex, May 17th, UFC Vegas 106. Paul Bear Jew Craig taking on Rodolfo Bellato.
Rodolfo Bellato.
Wow. Tough one for Paul Craig.
He just came off the draw with Jimmy Crute. And Jimmy Crute comes out of retirement to fight him, and you can't put him away. And Jimmy Crute has come across a lot of unlucky circumstances. So, though I was high on Rodolfo Bellato because I'm pretty sure only Vitor Petrino was the one to finish him.
Yeah.
He just hasn't really done anything for me. I think this could be a good matchup for Paul Craig, right? Especially if it hits the mat. It always is worrisome if you got to go on the ground with Paul Craig and his jiu-jitsu. So,
100%.
Yeah, it's also at 185, right? It's not 205.
Yeah, 185.
So maybe Paul Craig has finally found his footing there, though joining the weight class late in his career is not normally seen. I think the only guy who's, aged and gone down is Jose Aldo, right? Aged and went down in weight class. So shout out Paul Craig. I think he's going to have the X factor of the jiu-jitsu in that one.
My girl, Rose Namajunas. She has her next fight June 14th against the Maverick, Miranda Maverick. A lot of people said this might be a tough fight for her. She's won 4 in a row, Maverick, 5-1. Only lone fight or lone loss was to Jasmine Jasudavicius.
Who's on a tear.
On a tear. Rose lost her last fight to Erin Blanchfield. I saw the one in Colorado where she beat Tracy Cortez, but 2-2 in her last 4. I think this is a winnable fight for Rose. I do.
Yeah, it definitely is. But I'm going to go out and say that I think our entrance song, our intro theme, is going to be determined by if Rose wins this fight. If she loses this fight, I think we're going to be searching for a new introduction song. And that's the only thing, because we love Rose no matter what. But
I agree.
She's got to get back on track. And a win against Miranda Maverick would be good for her. I think the location's also favorable. So it's definitely possible, and she's capable of doing it. But I just don't want to be in a world where I start seeing the decline of Rose Namajunas, So I'm hoping she wins, and I would like to keep the theme as it is. But if we see a loss here, it may be a change of coming.
Also on that card, we got Alonzo Menfield. He's going to take on Omar Sy June 14th at the UFC event. That's a tough fight.
I think they're just setting up Menfield, right? Yep. They're just setting him up, right? Omar Sy. I think he's special, but with the ability to finish on the ground, right? He's got knockout power. He's extremely explosive. He seems like a more well-rounded Cyril Gane, if you would, right?
Good call.
I think that's same, kind of where their regionality is and just body types and everything. You don't see Cyril Gane having that good of a ground game. Omar Sy taps dudes out when it hits the mat. So I like that, and it's a setup for Menfield, man.
And the UFC, they are closing in and finalizing a deal to bring back UFC flyweight title challenger Koji Haraguchi.
Yeah.
Ariel Ronnie reported he's 7-1 in the UFC between 2013 and
Only Mighty Mouse.
2017. Only Mighty Mouse. Over the last 8 years, Haraguchi has gone 16-3 with 1 no contest in Rizin and Bellator bantamweight titles. So, I mean, he's a star. I would love for him to come back. I didn't get to see him. I've only seen him in Rizin, but what are your thoughts on what you've seen in the UFC from him?
Yeah, I mean, when he first fought Mighty Mouse in the UFC, all the hype was on him, undefeated guy, right? He was the only one, to say that they could beat Mighty Mouse Johnson. But Demetrius has done that to countless dudes, right? Jiu-Jitsu, Joe Benavidez. If Mighty Mouse wasn't there, he would have been the guy, right? There's so many countless guys that could have been the guy if there wasn't for Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson. But, though he's old in age, I feel like what it is maybe the UFC is searching for contenders for the flyweight division, right? You could see Kaya Sakura coming out last time. It's like the Japanese fighters are getting some sort of Dana White privilege. So if Kyoji Horiguchi joins the ranks again, he may well get a title shot just for joining it. So we'll see what they do, but that's something I see out of it. He's a super talented guy. He's a little older, but man, he still got it. Kyoji Horiguchi has still got it.
Yeah, and then the UFC, they have announced their return to Abu Dhabi for July 26th, fight night event at the EHA Arena. That should be a very fun fight. Yep. And you mentioned it. You were not positive. Let's just say I'll use that word you did in paraphrasing. But the GFL is moving forward to its debut event, May 24th, May 25th, in the Shrine Auditorium in Los Angeles. And the license, the California State Athletic Commission, has been approved. And we're going to see Uriah Faber and Renaud Barrow 3.
I want to see Bobby Lashley fight Sean Merriman.
Yeah, okay. Tony Ferguson, Dylan Dennis. We got Douglas Lima, Uriah Hall, Benson Hernandez, Henderson taking on Anthony Pettis as well. So we're gonna see some fights, kid. Now that it's confirmed, what do you have to say for yourself?
That's it. I like it. I'm hard on people because I just want to see excellence, right? So
yes.
If you're gonna flaunt it in our face and dangle that carrot, I want to be able to at least bite it. So
yes.
If we get these fights, all I pray is everyone stays healthy and it'll be entertaining for all, and everyone gets paid their rightful amount. So that's all. Let's give us the fights. Let's do GFL. Let's go.
Yeah. And shout out the GO. He's not up here anymore, but he was enshrined. John Jones is now co-owner of Dirty Boxing Championship. The promotion will have his first event tomorrow night in Miami, Florida. He signs a deal. He's co-owner. Shout out the GO, making some business moves. I like that.
Dude, didn't you?
He's headlining.
So he's fighting again on it.
Yes.
Whoa. I like it.
I mean, that video is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for it. Bare knuckle, it seems to be growing, right? We see it in Game Bred and mixed martial arts, and obviously BKFC putting on as many events as they are. So yeah, Dirty Box, and your next one up.
And you were right again. Hand up. I was wrong, but KSI and Dylan Dennis is off. The bout was scheduled for next week in Manchester, but KSI made a video, said he is out because of illness. My man was just playing in a charity soccer event last week.
I was gonna say he pulled his vagina in that charity.
I mean,
match.
you can't even fault Dylan Dennis for this one. I mean, this is a shame. This is all the thing. You slap him, you gotta call him out. This is soft from KSI and Mams. What are we doing over there in Misfit?
Nah, it's just it's hurting the brand. That's all I can say. It's hurting the brand.
And honestly, I think it's better for Dylan. Go focus on Tony Ferguson. This is a better fight for you anyway.
Yeah, it probably is. It doesn't have to just box again. You just have to worry about some getting cut a little bit with Tony Ferguson because, regardless of it, it's still Tony Ferguson. Regardless of all the circumstances and everything that's transpired, it's still Tony Ferguson who's fought the best of the best, and Dylan Dennis who hasn't really proven himself. So, yeah, he definitely needs to focus on that more. This is just kind of a gimmick fight with KSI to, get his name out there and stay kind of relevant in the press. But, it seems like all of them, like as you asked, what is Mams Taylor, what is KSI doing? They're all doing it to spite Dylan Dennis, but sometimes you cut your nose off to spite your face, and it doesn't work out for anybody. So they better be wary of what they're doing for their own brand, as I mentioned.
All right, kid. That's all I got for the news for this week. Why don't you close us off? LFA 204 tomorrow night, 9 p.m. in Connecticut, back here on the East Coast. What do you got?
Yeah, on Fight Pass, brother. I mean, there's a lot going on. A lot of UFC X, Antoine Ho, Luis Enrique Barbosa. I mean, Dylan Mantello. We saw him in the Dana White Contender Series. Remember, Hugo Kuno fought in the Dana White Contender Series as well. So all those names being said, a lot of entertainment going on. But my pick is for Joe Giannetti. Still hasn't made it to the UFC, and I feel like if he gets a great win here, though he's only the featured fight in this card, I feel like he has his path to get into the UFC finally and make a name for himself. So though he's minus 200, he's my lone pick for LFA 204. Let's go, Joe. Let's get this dub.
Joe, good luck. Let's get back on the horse and let's get some wins. Everyone enjoy the fights. Good luck. God bless. Week. Peace.